Hello everyone, this is Kaveen. It's good to be with you again. I'm excited about reciting another Rumi poem for you today. And what I would say to you is this poem is about self-inquiry, going within to discover our own true nature. It's a brilliant poem. But before I get into reciting it, I want to share a couple of footnotes with you that will hopefully put the poem in context where you will perhaps enjoy it more fully. So first thing, Rumi lived his life under the Sufi lineage. He was a Sufi. And Sufism, for lack of a better description, is the mystical sect of the Islamic faith. So Islam and Christianity both grew out of Judaism. So all three religions share similar stories. The Talmud, the Quran, and the Old Testament of the Bible have very similar stories. The cast of characters are the same, though each religion may emphasize different points about the stories. They have the same basic foundation. So that's significant with this poem because Rumi will be talking about Moses. Moses is a highly revered figure in the Islamic faith. And in this poem, I would say to you that Moses is representative of a human being who is deeply connected to his or her own divine intelligence, who feels and knows the presence of Spirit and trusts Spirit and allows Spirit to guide the direction and actions that they're taking in the world. It's an amazing quality of surrender and trust. So Moses is symbolic of that in the poem. And Rumi will caution us in the very beginning, it's difficult to talk about this energy because it's inexpressible, really. It's ungraspable. And if we hear the words of the poem from our old mindset, we've already missed the point, because that part will never be able to understand it. Rumi says, take these verses as a prod to inner looking. So feel the poem. Feel the words and what they activate within you. So that's one point I want to make. The other is in the second stanza. Rumi will make the reference, there's a sea parting greatness that anchors our being. Well, this is in reference to Moses again, in the story of Moses lifting his staff to part the Red Sea so the Israelites can escape from the Egyptians who are pursuing them. He says there's a sea parting greatness that anchors our being. It's in all of us. And he says there's a hard-hearted Pharaoh in there as well. A hard-hearted Pharaoh. The hard-hearted Pharaoh is the conditioned mind, the survival-oriented mind that thinks it has to control. It's always tense, always pressured. So there's a sea-parting greatness and a hard-hearted Pharaoh within us. Then Rumi makes an astounding recommendation. He says, seek them both out, these old adversaries, for they'll play their parts until the end of days, just so you can learn where in the story you are. It's amazing. The logical mind will not be able to grok it. The logical mind will say, yes, I'll go for that sea-parting greatness. But to seek out the hard-hearted Pharaoh, that doesn't make sense. That sounds crazy. But what Rumi is pointing to in the feeling of this is a tremendous shift, a paradigm shift in orientation to the world. The conditioned mind is always dividing phenomena, dividing energy. As soon as it's divided, it will judge And it'll say, this is good, this is not good. This is right, this is wrong. This is what I want, this is what I don't want. And then it can now invest itself totally in the process of suppressing and keeping what it doesn't want away and clinging to what it does want. That's the whole methodology of the conditioned mind. It's survival oriented. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's very limiting. And if we feel into that process just a little bit, we'll see there's a constant underlying tension and angst, because we're only as good as our last show. I have to keep keeping that bad energy away, and I have to keep recapturing and perpetuating the energy of want. There's constant tension. So Rumi is leading us to the mystic's orientation. Consciousness. Consciousness accepts everything. It is the nature of awareness to accept and include all phenomena, all energies. So in that inclusion is the effortlessness, the ease, the relaxation, the peace. So Rumi is guiding us to allow more of that orientation in the way we perceive. Okay? So that's a little bit of a background. Now let me do the poem. I hope you enjoy it. This kind of talk of Moses is difficult. If it tastes like old history, it's just one more chain around your head. Take these verses as a prod to inner looking. It's the light of Moses that's our concern. And that light doesn't pour down through time. It rushes up through your chest. There's a sea parting greatness that anchors our being. And a hard-hearted Pharaoh in there as well. Seek them both out, these old adversaries, for they'll play their parts until the end of days, just so you can learn where in the story you are. Candles flicker, the nature of light ever steady. Look at a candle, then see as the flame sees. Everything is inside your light now. Friend, become a seed with all existence coiled inside. This is called joining the true believers. This is called joining the true believers. All right, dear ones. Take the sound of the southern drawl reciting the beautiful ancient wisdom of the great mystic to lead you to connecting with your own mystic within and your divine intelligence that is always with us, always opening and welcoming us to an unconditional love. Have a great day.